And hello,
Yes.
I will be taking questions in chat box, and with that, we can begin.
Uh, Monica, we are now being live streamed, and I request all the participants to drop their questions on our Q&A box. Monica will be taking those questions, and Mr. Sansom will be answering them. So you can go ahead, Monica. Over to you.
So, hello everyone, I am Monica, and today we have with us Shayonsam Chanda, Senior Chief Engineer at Samsung, and he will be sharing insights on scaling startups with AI, automating operations and decision making. So, like the topic we all of us want to know and get deep. And so, let's give him a warm welcome, and feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box. Over to Shayonsam.
All right, great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. And you can see my PowerPoint slides as well, right?
Yes, sir. We can begin.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you for inviting me here, Monica Sarvesh. I am Dr. Shanshom Chanda. I am presently a Senior Chief Engineer at Samsung Research India. I'm based in Bengaluru. And today I'm going to talk to you about scaling startups using generative AI and how we can leverage these new breakthroughs to scale our startups. Okay. So, but before we begin, just one small disclaimer. These opinions that I share are my personal experiences and personal opinions and does not reflect anything related to my employer, past employers, or any other individual. Just mine. Okay. So one thing that I came across while I was doing some basic research for this talk is that very recently, McKinsey came up with a study saying that how much productivity gains are companies experiencing as a result of generative AI. And the number, it shocked me, was that 40% of employees are improving their productivity in such a way that they are doing 10 days worth of work in 6 days. And this company's surveys was mostly like larger companies. So if larger companies can get that kind of a leverage out of generative AI in startups where people are already working so hard, my intuition is that people can get even more advantage if they make AI and generative AI as a part of their workflows. So if larger companies are making a 40% gain, we definitely have a big opportunity to make even more gains so that we can keep up with this increasing competition that can come from different areas. Okay, so and this survey came from McKinsey, and you can Google it up, and I'm not making it up for sure. Okay, so basically, it's like getting 10 days worth of work done in 6 days. So now, what qualifies me to speak to you about all this? Like, who am I? So basically, I'll give you a little bit of introduction about myself. So before joining Samsung, I spent around 4 years working in a startup company. And for more than 10 years, I have been part of corporates and corporate research industries. So I have kind of seen both sides of how large companies work and how we have to make our startups work. So, and honestly, my startup was also part of this AI revolution. It was in the 2019-2020 phase when AI was just picking up. So in this conversation, I will share a first-hand story of how things were, and then we'll go from there. But before joining this startup, I'll take you a little bit further back into my story. Is that my training is electrical engineering, like hands-on power systems, very drab linear algebra, calculus kind of background. And so I did my PhD in those kind of topics in electrical engineering from Washington State University. And after that, I joined National Grid in New York. And if you combine the US and UK business, it is one of the largest utilities in the world. And they serve millions of customers serving their critical needs. And I had so much to learn there. But while I was working there, I was also very keen to commercialize my PhD research into a company. And so around 2020, we started a company with my PhD friend from Washington State. And our company was called Sync Energy AI. And we were pitching this company while wearing masks and sanitizing our hands at the peak of the COVID crisis. And we were selected part of Techstars. You may have heard of it. Techstars is one of the most competitive accelerators in the world, and we started working on the startup. So that 4 years ago was one of my earliest introduction to the startup world and how it works. And being a part of Techstars, I got a very good view of all kinds of startups that were making and raising millions of dollars, and startups that were just fizzling out and just losing money. So I have that kind of a perspective, which I'll share, and how where AI can be helpful. So about my companies, the Sync Energy, what we did is that we entered one of the most regulated and traditional businesses, which is electric power distribution. And the goal was to make electric power distribution system more resilient. And resilience can come from two perspectives. Like you can make your own operations resilient, like improving vegetation management, people productive after a power outage has happened. And one of the things that our company specialized in was one of the earliest uses and our users were able to make queries that, okay, which circuit needs to be recovered first, and we would run all those complex simulations in the backend and then give answers back in natural language. So I had this first-hand experience of how work done at a startup can not only scale the growth of your startup, but it can also scale the operations and impact the scale of operations at much larger organizations. So the message that I want to share, my first message that I want to share today is that when you are scaling up your startup, you will also have an exponential impact on your customers. That is why how you leverage AI or bring AI to your operations is going to be very important, not only for you and everyone. That is message one. I have 5 messages to share, and I will share them along this conversation. So now, when you are working on a startup and thinking of scaling it up and bringing more AI tools to it, I want to take one step back, and I want to share what is going on in the startup sector. I've been very closely following it. I've been mentoring many startups myself. So a lot is changing in the startup world after this generative AI revolution is happening. So before that, I know most of you are startup founders and you definitely know what a startup is, but one angle that I want to add to your thought process is that a startup is essentially a transient phase of an organization, like a baby phase of an organization. Like a baby is not meant forever to be a baby, and it quickly needs to be a human being who can go to school and then eventually go to college and then be someone in society. So a startup needs to be something substantial as soon as possible. Okay, so that is what you should want as a founder. And that is exactly what investors want. All your early stage investors are looking for exits, fast exits. They have invested money and time in you and they want to reap their money back. So many people think that raising money is the end goal of a startup, but it is not. And I believe most of you are not also thinking that way, but just wanted to ingrain that thought. And now, uh, as I said, like investors want their back sooner. Now the landscape has fact. We have to start much close to the product fit 4 or 5 years ago, or maybe even 10. The silicon or was a lot more tolerant. And so we experiment. So Brad, one of the co-founders of Techstars, always used to say that do more faster, then you can fail faster, then you can learn faster, and then faster you can build your next company.
Uh, Wait, audience, I will get back with you. I will get in touch with Soyun.
I think there is some technical issue. Participants can wait till our host joins in. We also have one question, some from Shivangi Agnihotri. It will be answered shortly. Also requesting other participants, if you have any doubt till now in the session, you can drop your questions on Q&A box.
Just I just joined back. Can you see me?
I can see you. I can see you.
Okay, great. Yeah, there's something wrong with my Wi-Fi. Okay. All right. I'll just sit down on the floor. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, great. Thank you. So
Okay. So let's begin again, and we are sorry for the network issue. Audience, be with us.
yes, thank you for your patience. So I'll start where I trailed off. Okay. Can you hear me, Monica?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can see the presentation also. You can
Okay.
begin.
All right. Okay. So one thing I was speaking before I trailed off, and I apologize about that network issue that just happened. So is that the abundance of VC funds is kind of has shrunk, and the patience that people used to have associated with startups that has also changed significantly. So now the onus for startup founders is that they have to start much closer to the product market fit. You can hear me, right? Still?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, okay, okay.
Hmm.
All right. So, so now one of the things that is kind of important for us is that we have to do our research much better and cover more areas than what we'd have typically had room for failure in the last 10-15 years. So one of the frameworks that I found really useful when I was building a startup and then eventually moving on to the corporate sector, this framework is called the T framework. And this is something that I learned from reading a book by Warren Buffett and reading some other conversations related to him. So basically, it's called the T framework. The T means that there will always be, imagine the letter T and imagine all the different ideas and different features that can go into your startup, right? And you can, this kind of defines the breadth of of the things that you can do. Okay. But the startups that are eventually successful are the ones which take one idea and run very deep with it. So it's like that, it forms like a T letter. So whichever startup comes and just finds one area and takes it deep, they win in the startup race. So now, why I find it relevant to tell you about this today, this is my message number 2, is that with generative AI, there is a temptation for superficial knowledge. It seems that with generative AI, we can do many things at once. But the goal of using generative AI in a startup should be to do one thing exceptionally well. So, with or without AI, you would have still done one thing exceptionally well. Now, with generative AI, you have to amplify your efforts in one single direction. And that is what we kind of emphasize on the use of generative AI. So, generative AI should not tempt startups into doing many things at the same time, but still continue on that focus and doing it exceptionally well. So, remember the T framework. That is my message number 2. Now, generative AI. I've been speaking about it at length for the last 20 minutes, but the most important bit is that, and you probably all know what generative AI is, but just to kind of level the ground in case someone is new to it, it is some sort of a human input, which is technically called a prompt. And then you can add your own contextual data, your spreadsheets, your PDF files, etc., to it. And then you can come up with new ideas, new answers to your problems. That is what generative AI does. That is what generative AI. Now, what generative AI does? But fundamentally, it is the new category or branch of AI where people don't have to necessarily train a computer to understand something. It already has some sort of a base knowledge, And then given your question, it can look back into its knowledge pool and then create a new entity based on the knowledge pool. So instead of like classical AI is something like where you would show it like 10 images of oranges and then show another 11th image and ask whether it's an orange or not. And then classical AI will say whether it's an orange or a cat or a house. But in this generative AI, you describe that, okay, I want a fruit that is juicy, I want a fruit that is orange in color, and I want a fruit that has a green leaf on its head. It will create that image of orange for you. So that is generative AI. So that sets the background. And now, who is this for? Is this only for tech startups? Like people building the next fintech solution, people building the next Canva, or people building the next app? No, generative AI is for all kinds of startup, whether you're doing some sort of a manufacturing startup, whether you're doing some sort of a non-profit startup helping school children do something, learn something better. It is for everybody, right? So irrespective of what stage or what category your startup is, you have to emphasize on the fact that we have to take advantage of it. And it is beyond just writing your emails with ChatGPT. Okay, it is about finding a new brainstorming partner. And since this talk focuses on a scaling aspects of generative AI, I will emphasize on what kind of scaling can be done for your startup. Now, early stage startup, which many of you might be already, is basically kind of pre-revenue startups. In those cases, things that will matter most to you is how you can scale your market. How can you scale up your ideas to find what the market needs? Okay, so for you, your set of prompts that you have to give to your generative AI system is going to be that, okay, give me 10 ideas on why my marketing campaign is not working. And then it will give in, you will have to input your marketing campaign, whatever you are putting on your LinkedIn, and then say why is it not working. Or you, if you have some issues finding your ideal customer profile like ICP, you input your ICP to the generative AI and it will give you ideas probably you may not even have thought of, right? So giving the generative AI some sort of a prompt to help you get out of your rut. Then some of the other issues that early stage founders might struggle with is investor math. Say, most early stage founders are exceptionally talented at one thing. That is why they want to create a company around it, or they have an excellent idea and want to build a company or organization around it. What they are not is very good at understanding what language the investors are speaking. So the investors is always speaking things like, okay, what is your monthly average users? Okay, what is your ARPU, average revenue per user? Or what is the valuation? Am I going to get the premium shares from your stock options, or am I going to get the regular shares? And why do the investors always get the premium shares while you as the founder get the regular shares? So those are the kind of questions that you don't even know, you may not know while you're starting up. But that is where ChatGPT or any other AI platform can come as your friend and help you decode that. Now, many investors in early stage don't want any more forecasts like revenue forecasts, but there are some people who still do. So say, for example, you want to build some sort of financial model and you have never done it before, you can do that using a generative AI. So this is for very early stage people who are just starting up. And then some people who are still early stage but have started to do some revenue, congratulations on that first, but then who have started to do some revenue, AI can be an excellent partner on how you do your revenue scaling, right? So first of all, you may not have the budget or the time to hire a person who is good at doing financial forecasts or market surveys. In that case, you can use the knowledge base of an AI platform to analyze your customer purchase patterns. If you upload a spreadsheet, it can tell that, okay, all your customers are getting tickled by this specific keyword. Then you can change your landing page or all your marketing material around that kind of a keyword so that you can start seeing more traction, more sales. So that's how you can start building your revenue. So previously, what used to happen, like at least 4 years ago when I was working on a startup, is we invested some money into getting some marketing materials done, and it was like professionally made, beautiful, and we paid a lot of money for that. But then as we were tracking where our customers were doing, we did not have any more money left to make any more changes to the marketing material. So those were some of the issues that used to exist before, but not anymore, because now you have the opportunity to use visual AI tools like Canva AI, where Canva can help you craft different kinds of, like posters or backgrounds based exactly on what you need, based on how your customer is evolving. And then if you are a manufacturing startup, especially from the agricultural sector or chemical sector, trying to build the next generation of batteries, the things that can be very relevant for you is operational scaling using AI. So some people who are probably setting up their firms for the first time, they're probably uh, not very sure on what can be the good operating principles for an organization. They may have been part of, like large organizations. They've been an employee of, say, a Fortune 500, and now they're starting everything from scratch, where they are responsible for everything. Operational scaling can feel nightmarish. It can feel overwhelming. But then, just by uploading your equipment logs, or asking an AI system to create a quality control checklist, that can be a phenomenal help for a person who is just starting to scale up their operations, right? So depending upon the stage that you're in, if you're an early stage pre-revenue who have still not found the product market fit, AI is here going to be a friend for idea scaling. And I'll try to see if I can do some live demos on how you can do that. But you should be able to do that. Now, the next message, the third message, the fourth message that I want to share with you is that AI need not be expensive. So one of the first things that you will probably see is that there's a significant difference between the quality of results that you can get out of ChatGPT's free version or the premium versions, the O1 version that is coming up. But I'm sure all of you are aware, because at least the stock market reacted to it. The DeepSeek has come up with ways to totally circumvent this issue of an expensive AI system where we have to keep paying a monthly 2000 rupee subscription fee to just have access to the advanced AI models. Now, DeepSeek is a relatively very good AI model that you can download. And if you want, we can put it on the chat, or we can do a live demonstration right now, how you can host these DeepSeek models right directly on your computer and use a web UI interface exactly like ChatGPT's to interact with it. So that way, you are good on two things. One, your secret data do not leave your computer. So if there is no internet connection and DeepSeek is kind of put in some sort of a Docker environment where it is not interacting with any outside cloud, your data stays with you and not going to be used for your further model training. So that is as an advantage for founders. You can keep some of your IP related to it. And then the second thing is that, or you at least don't have to worry about privacy issues. And the second thing is that you won't have to pay the $2,000 monthly fee, the 2000 rupees monthly fee, because of having a subscription to either ChatGPT or Claude, right? So AI need not be expensive, and we have to leverage, we have to be really, really stingy with how we spend money on AI, because the advantage that we can get out of AI needs to be manifold. And only then you'll start feeling the full power of AI to or get the 110x value of your time investment in AI, and then you can make AI a scalable part of your business. So, and the tools, if you want to note it down, it is going to be a downloaded DeepSeek model from websites like Hugging Face. And then there are open source GitHub repositories called, say, Browser UI or browser use, browser dash use, or another thing called web dash UI. So combining a DeepSeek model with either browser use or web UI, you can create your own chat GPT that won't talk to the outside world and just equally effective for free. There are plenty YouTube tutorials on how you can set it up for your company today. But if you want, you can always email me. I'll leave my email at the end of this talk, and then I can help you set it up. Just voluntary helping out a startup founder kind of work. I'll help you do that. Okay. So now the thing is that I told about scaling, but now how can we start getting using Gen AI for our competitive advantage? Okay, so now we have to adapt to new age workflows, and this is one of the core parts of the presentation. Is how do you work with your AI is going to define your success. If you who are attending this presentation are doing the same thing with ChatGPT like all your 10,000 competitors are doing, then you're not necessarily getting an advantage, right? Because all your competitors are also giving the same prompt and asking the same questions and then getting the same answers or similar answers. So the ideas are going to be the same, right? Now, the other trick that you can use is that instead of you asking the chat GPT or the generative AI, flip the tables. You ask the chat GPT to keep asking you questions, okay, so that it can help you dig out your best ideas from within you. Okay, so the more you ask, so pretend like you are a VC and you are wanting to invest in this kind of a company. Ask me 5 questions about this segment and see how much you know. And the more you converse, do the back and forth with the AI system, the more truth about your startups will come up from within you. And once you have found a framework, then you can go back to the another generative AI system to provide the correct prompts and then get your own answers that truly reflect what you want. So help AI to make you unique. That is my fourth message related to the new age workflows that you have to create using AI. And the other thing that I want to share with you today, let me see if I can do a quick hands-on, is you have to start using tools beyond ChatGPT or Claude. Okay, that needs to be very obvious, and it is true for every startup founder out there, whether you're doing a tech startup or an agricultural startup or a nonprofit startup. Start using new kind of tools and combination of AI tools. So by combination of AI tools, I mean specifically this, Perplexity and Notebook LM, which is a Google product. So let me see if I can share my screen. Okay, so can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, I'm trying to show you my Perplexity. And then the other thing that I will show you is basically another tool you may or may not have used is called notebooklm.google. Okay, so the whole premise is that think smarter, not harder. And this is going to be part of your new age workflow that I strongly recommend for startup founders. Okay, so now, for example, one thing can be you want to say get a competitive advantage around and say you're building a startup that is about creating soap for teenage Indian boys, a very niche market. Okay, teenage Indian boys, you want to create healthy soaps that their parents approve. You have a very good chemical formula, and you just want to find out that how you can stand out compared to the competitors, which are like these giant companies like Hindustan Unilever, okay, who can create similar products, but you have to find your own unique things, right? So where can you search for ideas? So one way to search for ideas is using this new tool called Perplexity. You may have used it for searching real-time AI, But I'll show you a new technique, which is, say, like, show me things like what are the most common complaints about teenage from teenage boys about their face wash. Learn from top journals and podcasts. Okay. And then you can give like a site where, you know, like typically podcasts are found, like I don't know, like uh, uh, okay, I don't remember what is a podcast search site, but I'll do the, say, top scientific journal, so that you can create a very scientific product. So I can limit my file searches to like journal articles, file type PDF. Okay, so now what it will do is that it will give you different research that has been done. It gives you a summary of what has been done. You probably know many of it, but what it will also give you is journal links, because you see, I gave file type PDF. So all the references that you see here will be scientific journals. So say, for example, this journal article will give me something, and then ineffectiveness against acne. So now I'm going to save these journal articles in my wherever I want. So healthyvoice.pdf. Okay. So save this. Yes. Now I have two research articles. Ideally, it should comprise about like 20-30 of your research articles, but now I'm just giving a prototype. So now you have to come back to your Notebook LM, and in Notebook LM, what it does is that you can do your research here based on the PDFs or the research files that you created, right? So basically, now I'll just create one chat, and this is where you have to upload the researches, because, you know, like, if you're a startup founder, you may not have time to read through all these PDFs. So now I'll upload some files, and you see, Notebook LM gives you the option to also upload YouTube videos. So if there is some exciting YouTube video you watch, you can do that. If there's a podcast episode, you can give its web link, it will still find out. Now I just downloaded these two research papers, and I'm going to upload these for my uh, startup research, a parent's guide to boys puberty. Okay, so now let's go to studio. Okay, and then one thing that I can do is that this AI engine now is not only a general purpose LLM, but it has these two specific research that I'm interested in. And today, I just, for the sake of time, I did some random search, but it can be some chemical journal research that you have done. You can add those too, right? So now I'm going to start here, and then I can literally start chatting, say that, okay, I am building a new company. Give me 5 new chemical compounds I can experiment with, which will make me a better product. Okay, so see, I'm an electrical engineer. I know nothing about chemistry or soap, but I'm just kind of showing you the new age workflow. Okay, which is you download the right sources, and within couple of minutes, like 5 minutes, okay, I now have an idea that, okay, if I am to go into this industry, I should probably start researching with this acid, azelaic acid, okay, salicylic acid, which is probably very common, but I can form marketing material around it if my competitors are not doing it. Or we can do even more search, saying that which of these chemicals are banned in the US. Okay, so now I can see, if I want to target the US market, I'll quickly have an idea on how we can do this. And then we can go on and on saying that in US, say azelaic acid, which came out as like a top source, is kind of probably banned. So we have sources around it. So you're probably not going to experiment with it. So that way you can come up with your perfect product, not only by doing the scientific research, but then you can ask your AI engine to start thinking like a marketer and create a Facebook campaign copy. Okay. So now, based on this, I can start framing the copy that I can do for some initial market survey related to this. Okay, so now I can directly target people who are, say, suffering from salicylic acid or benzoyl peroxide in their soap, and then we can give it clearly to our customer that banish acne breakouts and don't use these products because our products don't have them. So we went from research to a very focused marketing campaign in a span of 10 minutes. And this is just the simple demonstration that I wanted to give you of for how you can create your new age workflows for scaling up your startups. And then, as I went back and said, we don't have too much time left for doing product market fit. We have to use AI for finding these new ideas faster and doing better research using these kind of new age workflows. So first, new age workflow, I'll remind you, is ask AI to ask you questions, not that you are asking AI all the questions. And the second is use combination of new tools, especially notebook.lm.google. It will really give you exciting ways, and use Perplexity to find the right relevant sources. Because one of the most common complaints about AI is that it hallucinates, which means that it gives you erroneous information. And if you're not the expert in the subject, you might be tempted to believe that that is correct information. So that thing is called hallucination. So this new age workflow, you might be able to avoid hallucinations and get to your outcome much faster. Okay, so with this, we'll probably go towards my closing comments. My last and final message of the day is that AI need not be your co-founder. Your co-founder should always be a human being. Instead, think of AI as your intern who never gets tired. Of course, try to keep that intern as unpaid as possible. In one of my messages, that AI need not be expensive, but get DeepSeek from Hugging Face and deploy it on your computer. So AI should be an unpaid intern. That is my bold claim and advice, that try to maximize this so that you can scale faster. And of course, when you have the ability to pay, you can go for paying for these tools. And then, of course, there comes a moment, kind of a decision point, a fork in the road for many startups when, say, their initial campaigns are not working, initial web clicks are not happening, initial customers are not coming in. The challenge that happens is that you have to decide, is it time to pivot? So then let AI guide your pivot. Then you can, pivot sooner. And, there are like 5 types of pivot, whether you just do one small modification at the product level, that kind of a pivot, to a whole, the fifth at the end of the spectrum kind of a pivot, where you change your whole company into totally something else. So let AI guide your thought process, because at those times humans can become emotional. I've seen that happen, but let AI be your rational guardrails at that point and guide you towards the right pivot. And since we are presenting in the for an event that is based in India, I want to explain or just talk a little bit about the opportunity that we have in India. In India, if we speak of for colonial history, we missed out on many things. We missed out on the industrial revolution. But but eventually, if you look back some history books, we were the ones who were funding the industrial revolution to happen in Europe. Before industrial revolution, India was a prosperous country because it owned its own manufacturing. We had skilled laborers who were building their own things. Now we are again in that part of our history where a seismic change, a tectonic shift is happening once again. And then we, if we want to give our nation some sort of an advantage through our startups, I implore that consider building your AI models which can be used to serve global needs. So the India opportunity is that we have to build the talent, the AI pipelines as much as possible internally, and then use it to identify what needs we can uh, support worldwide instead of us just being the data sets and consumers of the AI. So that's why my always think about your workflows, that are you asking AI the questions and AI is just giving you the answers. So that way the situation becomes that you are kind of like a training data set for the AI model to become better and better. Instead, flip the tables, explore different workflows, try open source models, keep the models within your computer, and then try to build the new AI engine of India within India itself. So that is just a personal note. Okay, so now with all this, I'll open up for questions. That has been my presentation. Sorry about the interruption that happened, but now I'll be taking questions. Thank you.
So the first question we have from Shivangi Agnihotri. How AI will be streamline the power system operations?
Excellent. Thank you, Shivangi, for taking for bringing that up, and it's closer to my domain. So, power systems, is like a big thing. I'll speak mostly on the distribution side of business. So, some of the things that I have worked on is generative AI is helping in two different ways. One is improving vegetation management. Vegetation management has usually was a very cumbersome process that happens every 7-8 years. But now with generative AI, it is possible to identify which trees are likely to grow faster and cause a power outage kind of a problem. And we trim those specific trees. So that way we get the advantage of lesser power cuts. And at the same time, we don't have to go through the full vegetation management cycle. The second is understanding consumer data. So basically, you see, they say when a utility wants to do some experiment or a discom wants to do some sort of an experiment, they're dealing with consumer data, right? So that has some sort of privacy issues both in US, California, and definitely in Europe. And in India, sometimes the data is not even available. So generative AI can be a very good stopgap solution for generating smart meter data if you want to do experiments like um, say non-invasive load monitoring, or giving users some sort of a demand response program and ask an AI agent to help you understand how the customer is going to react to those kind of things. And the third thing is that in many operational practices in the power system, so for example, say think the situation of oil and gas, dissolved gas analysis for transformers. So of course people have to do dissolved gas analysis for many transformers, but if you have like 2000 transformers, it is not always possible to go and take the thermal imaging and do the oil analysis. So for many situations what happens is people have to go that, okay, this transformer will do check later, but meanwhile something bad happens with the transformer. But what happens is if you have an AI application which can take the inputs for similar transformers, and then we can project for different transformers on what might be the issues happening in other transformers. That is a wonderful use case on how we can improve transformer health using generative AI. So these are some of the three things that is happening mostly in the distribution side of power systems. But if you want to know more, I reach out to me via email and I'll be happy to talk to you more on that.
Thank you, Sayansam. Shivangi, I have allowed you to talk. Do you want to ask something else?
Hello, I'm much satisfied with the answer and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Shiv.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Vision. How do I use AI for my startups that provides lifestyle coaching based on Vedic philosophy and literature? Second is that provide mentorship for exams, having a prep tracking app already deployed.
Excellent. So that you are in the. May I ask who was who asked the question?
Vizian says Walker. I am allowing him to talk.
Okay, thank you. That's an excellent question, and this is precisely the way, like how AI should personalize thing for people. And you said that you want to adapt education to the learning style, right?
Vizian, you
Yeah,
can unmute and.
yes, sir.
Yes, perfect. So basically, yes. So as this is an excellent segment because like many people have different learning styles, even if they are considered the normal. But of course, like some people can be dyslexic, and some people can have other sort of learning difficulties. But everyone, irrespective of whether we are say high on the autism spectrum, or we are almost normal but still have inability to focus, some sort of an ADHD, or some people just like information in a different way, we have learning styles. Some people are more auditory, some people like hands-on, so all those things are there. The beauty of generative AI is that once you characterize what kind of a person this user is, you can put that as a part of your prompt. Okay, and put that part of your prompt, and then use that prompt to generate the learning materials for that particular user. So for example, if I have a 6-year-old boy who is, say, high on the ADHD spectrum, and it is very difficult for him to understand or listen for more than 10 seconds, I will make the prompt so that I can generate a story for him where the sentences are not longer than 10 seconds. Okay, so with that, and then if I have a person who is like very much on the autistic side, but his attention level are like out of the world, like very attention oriented, then I can make those sentences as complex attention intensive as I want. Same material, totally different for people with different learning styles. So the answer to your question, Vijayant, is that you first have to identify what your persona is, or what is your target persona. If your target persona is dyslexic plus they like hands-on experiences, make sure that the prompt that you're going to give to your AI is that, okay, this person is dyslexic, they cannot pay attention for more than 5 seconds, make very short sentences at grade 1 reading level, and then create story with hands-on examples from nature or people can see in the park. And then AI will generate the content for you that you can present to your target audience, if in a text form, or you can even use techniques like text to voice so that they can listen as they learn. So if you want to teach photosynthesis that way, instead of having one textbook that says that photosynthesis is something that CO2 plus sunlight, Krebs cycle creates oxygen and water, instead of that formula, you can describe it in 10 different ways for 10 different people. And this is such an important need if we want to build the workforce where we need more people, where education works for them, where education wraps around them, instead of we pushing us children to some sort of an education system where we have to wrap around the education system and not everyone conforms. Like you all are sharp, you all made it to the IIT, but we have to make sure everyone becomes sharp in their own way. Excellent, Vijayant. Keep doing that.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Chanda sir, Dr. Sarvesh here. How are
Yes.
you?
I'm good. Dr. Sarvesh, how are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks. And today, a lot of students and lot of startups is there, and they are enjoying your talk and they are learning a lot from your side, and they are thinking that how to use the AI and ML and Gen AI, whatever it is. So what I feel that this is a very impressive session and very this startups are very also very tenacious into the goal and uh, it's for designing the product and using the AI, ML or Gen whatever. So my doubt is that startups means it's okay. So how the and ML, so the classical AI and ML algorithms will contribute to enhance the productivity of the startups, because the LLM and SLM model having some limitation in institution level and all. So but yeah, I agree with that your points. So can you guide our startups regarding the how the AI classical algorithms will use in the startup domain to enhance the productivity and all?
Excellent question, Dr. Sarvesh. I think very true that with generative AI, the classical AI will not go away, because that is the bedrock and foundation of generative AI. So for startups who want to truly build a differentiating product that is definitely unique, something that you can patent and no one else can take from you, you have to be good at these generative AI algorithms. Now, the question is that how classical algorithms can help startups. Now, depending upon what your startup's focus area is. So for example, if it is a tech startup where you're trying to build some sort of a SaaS business, like a web app where people will do something, right? So for example, you're building a web app where a person can find the right doctor for them, then it essentially becomes the same problem of like a matching problem. So the same problem becomes like a matching problem. So then you can do all those recommender system, that is a classical ML algorithm that you can work with. uh, then the other thing is that, for example, if you are trying to do some sort of a platform, say some sort of an agricultural platform, or again, like matching the farmers to the right kind of soil depending upon the year's weather forecast. So that is again the same sort of recommendation algorithms that Amazon uses to match the kind of product that you would want based on your past subscription. So those are classical
I agree.
problem.
Completely agree.
The other thing is that, classical like pattern. So basically, all startups before this do their AI or Gen AI journey should do some sort of a refresher course on YouTube to identify what are the top 10 classical AI algorithms, like supervised learning, to give 1,000 data sets, identify that 1,001 data set. And then once you have an awareness about the 10 classical canonical algorithms, then the next step is basically just mapping what you want to do to what already exists. And then you will find the treasure trove of solutions in that space. YouTube, Coursera, to learn those and implement it in such a way that will work for your stuff.
Nice. So Chanda sir, I am another because one meeting is there, so I am leaving, and really grateful session, and Monica will connect with you for further some address. I already spoken with you, so please talk with Monica, and I will connect you in evening.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sarvesh.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Monica. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you.
Okay,
Is
we
there
have two more.
any other question that I can help you?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
we have two more questions. Like one is from Priyam Sachin. He says that as an AI/ML student and a working professional, I have two general questions related to AI. First one, in my experience, data silos and data governance policies often pose challenges to AI deployment. What are the best strategies to address data integration and compliance issues, ensuring that AI systems have access to comprehensive and high quality data? And second part is, what are the most effective methods for measuring the ROI of AI initiatives in operational settings? Additionally, which key performance indicators best reflect the success of these initiatives?
Excellent. So I'll start with the first question, data silos. And you're 100% right, Priyam, that if you are working in a large organization, your probably data is stored in some like S3, AWS cloud, and you don't have access to it, or you have to go through many hoops and bureaucratic process to get the permission for that data. So breaking the data silo is where one of the things that generative AI can help you. So one of the things that I personally experienced while working for larger companies is that due to either privacy issues or PII confidentiality issues or laws in the country, there can be some sort of a restriction that this data cannot be shared. But one thing that companies or many stakeholders in your company might be okay sharing is what is the schema of that database. Okay, so basically you may not get access to the full 100 terabytes of data to train your model, but one of the excellent thing can be you get the full schema. And then based on, say that you have that schema saying that, okay, name, age, customer, you can do some sort of a statistical analysis. Okay, so many people who do not want to share the data are often okay sharing the statistics related to the data. So you can ask them that, okay, if there is an age column in the data set, give me the distribution of the age. Is it following a log normal distribution or a normal distribution? If there is a temperature to the data set, give me the distribution of the data set. So try to get at least these two things, that schema and the statistical distribution. And once you have these two things, you can use generative AI to generate synthetic data of which will match the statistics of your original data set. Okay, and then whatever idea you have, whatever be your idea, train your model with it, show the value proposition or what benefits your model will bring to your company. You have to work behind the scenes, you have to work on your own, build that model and take it to your leadership, saying that, sir, there is a data set like this. I was not allowed access to the data for privacy reasons, blah, blah. And I am not at that high level to grant myself permission. But what I did is that I got the schema of the data set, I got the statistics of the data set. And if we have the data like this, these are the benefits, these are the 5 benefits my ML model is giving you, which will give the company this strategic advantage compared to our competitors. Ma'am, now can I have access to the data set? I'm sure that that is one of the most effective ways to break the data silo. Ask for what the data looks like, show the value proposition of breaking the silo. And I'm sure then that once the leadership actually sees the value proposition of breaking the data silo, they will do it for you. So that is one way to deal with it in my experience. And then I think your second question was about ROI related to AI operations, right? So basically, the ROI, in my opinion, is the investments in AI can be many ways. So one investment can be you train all your workforce to be AI competent, and you pay for them to attend courses, live seminars, get training from Andrew NG, pay for their Coursera, whatever. That can be an investment. And the other investment can be investing in an LLM, a cloud secure LLM, or using ML model training. So again, it will go back to kind of the first answer where, you can see that, okay, after all these trainings, are you going to get any percent increase on your revenue because of this? Or will you be able to get 1.25x more customers because of this? Or will you be able to retain more customers? So whatever is your traditional business metric, okay, whatever is your traditional business metric or KPI that you are working for in your company, that entire thing can still continue to be a benchmark for your AI investment. And then what you can say is that you can start drawing a one-to-one correlation, saying that, okay, our revenue, maybe you can just draw it like this. On a y-axis, you can give the revenue per user, and you draw it over the last few months. And then in the y-axis, and in the x-axis, you can have investment on AI per employee. And then you plot a very simple line chart. Okay, y-axis, customer revenue, and then x-axis, investment in AI per employee, and investment or AI investment per company, where you can add the investment per employee plus the cloud infrastructure cost or licensing cost, etc. Add all of them together. And then you can slowly start seeing that after a period of time, you'll start seeing a growth in the AI axis, or however you design your matrix, that the ratio of the benefits, like the cost per customer or revenue per customer, is increasing while the investment in AI per customer is decreasing. So you'll be able to plot it out that way and very quickly have an ROI. So these are my two responses to your question. I'll again summarize it. One is, sorry, what is your first? Breaking the data silo is that build your own representative data to break the silo, show the benefits. And second is that keep your KPIs the same, but parallelly draw line charts where your y-axis can be your today's KPI and x-axis can be your AI investments. And then you'll be able to quickly show the benefits of AI on your current KPIs. That is my idea on how to deal with this problem. Yeah, so I think there's a follow-up question. How will you know AI is not sharing? So that is through licensing agreements. One thing is that, so there are open source models of AI from companies like Meta, DeepSeek, which you can download and put it in a computer that has no access to the internet. Okay, download it with internet access, and then make sure you cut off all its Ethernet wires, throw away its Wi-Fi dongle, and make sure it is disconnected from the internet. Okay, and then you can still use those AI LLM models, and it will not be exported outside because you are physically cutting off access to the internet. Right, so there is no way it is going to happen. It is like covering your camera with a sellotape and a sticky note to make sure no one can spy on you with your webcam. Right, that is like a hard way to make sure your AI data doesn't leak out. If you keep your company internet active, there is a very good chance that this might get transferred.
So, Jashwant, you have something?
Hello.
Yes, Yashwant.
Hi, Samsung. I have question. What are the skills we need to learn for becoming a startup founder, for building a product with AI? What do you think we should learn
Yeah,
apart from Gen AI and these things?
excellent question. Again, if you have a little bit background in computer science, it will be helpful. But these days, AI literacy is more important than computer science literacy, because computer science literacy was very important for ML literacy. You needed to know the algorithms. But AI literacy can be totally different. It is something like prompt engineering. It is knowing how to interact with an AI system to get the things that you need to learn, right? So one of the important things is, first start with 10 classical algorithms. Even if you don't have any background in computer science, I don't know whether you have or not. If you don't, I'm assuming, say you are doing some sort of a biotech startup and very hands-on with chemicals and chemistry and all that. So let's say in that case, find top 10 AI algorithms, which can be supervision learning, unsupervised learning, pattern matching, okay, image recognition. Understand these algorithms at a way that you understand. And then I will transition into Vivek's question, which is exactly the case in point that we are trying to speak. And then it will help you learn those kind of things which you need to learn based on your skill set. And if you chat with ChatGPT about this, it will give you the correct curriculum on what exactly are the 10 things you need to learn. But high level, my idea is that start with 10 ML algorithms very well, even if you have or do not have a computer science background. And then whatever AI you are building, okay, try to map that problem to one of those classical problems, because most problems in the world are like that. There is always a classical problem it maps to. Okay, if you can map your idea framed in different words to a classical problem, you will have an AI powered startup that works on the foundations of classical machine learning. Now, Vivek, do you have a question on skill tech startups? Yes. So how, I think I can read Vivek's question, or Vivek, if you want to speak it out.
Okay, we have another meeting scheduled, so we will get back to each question via mail.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Sayansham. We really had gained a lot from this webinar, and thanks a lot.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Feel free to share my email address with the participants. I'll be happy to talk.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Vivek, thank you. I'll get back to you.